are you today? Welcome to the Drumshow. Doing something a little bit more classical percussion, bordering on almost military. I thought I'd bring it to a short stop there because I want to explain it. Essentially, when you're talking about drum lines and things like that, the heart of it really is the snare drum. So what we're doing really is talking about things like the 40 pass rudiments, of which they are a sort of a Bible. You sort of play them as much as you can. Some more than others. There's a couple of weird ones in there. But nevertheless, you know, a lot of what we play in a rudimentary style really does come back to the what used to be the 26 standard rudiments, but are now seen as the 40 PAS rudiments. PAS, P-A-S, Percussive Arts Society. Now, when I started to split myself up doing things like that kind of business there. And then I went to my piccolo tom. What these start to be is sort of like multi-toms, you know, when you see the third line really, or you know, you get a lot of, it depends, I shouldn't say that, but it's like the snare drums are in front, and then you get the multi setup. And what happens is it's like 6 little tom-toms, and you play them with mallets not unlike these, very short ones, and they're melodic, right? So. Something like that, and you bring in all these different elements. So what I'm trying to do today is sort of do something in a rudimentary style, but split myself into maybe 4 sections, you see. So I've got the snares on. I've got a 14 by 6.5 here, stainless steel, DW. And then over here, on my left hand side, I've got another 14, but it's 14 by 5 maple. Over here is stand-up bass drum. I've got a 18. What is this? An 18 by 14. Whoa! I do like that sound. Now what I'm doing here is often called a duet for one. And the splashing hi-hat, which is something I love doing. Maybe a little bit too much sometimes, I don't know. But of course you have your cymbal players in a drum line, is what you have. So I'm sort of having a little bit of a, what am I trying? Emulate, an emulation of that, if that's a word. bass drum. So I'll bring it into the standard form. So there's something there. I'm just coming up with etudes, really. I'm thinking it through for you so that you can hear some of the things that happen in drum lines and all that sort of business. So that's my little opening, little repartee sort of thing. I'll be back after the break and I'll be showing you a couple of other things. I'll bring in some samples as well because when you start talking about drum lines, of course, it's rudimentary. But when you're talking about snare drum and snare drum rudiments and stuff, let's never forget that a snare drum rules in rudimental work, but in a classical percussion section, it can also rule as well. So a little bit more after the break, and I'll talk to you about more classical side, and I'll bring in some samples with my triggers and things like that. Back soon.